We talk a lot about growth risk, fixed income risk. I thought I would talk to you a little bit about marriage risk because, believe it or not, there is risk in marriage as well. It may end up being a good risk, who knows? Because there are studies done by Time magazine that actually say that being married gives you better heart health. So great job, married folks. Wonderful. But wait a second. There is another study done by the National Institute of Health that actually shows that in the long run, marital quality actually predicts poorer health. So maybe the single people did the right thing. We don't care whether you're single, we don't care whether you're a happy couple or in the middle of a divorce. We want to help you make passive income. Subscribe now. Welcome to YieldNerd, an educational show about how you can acquire and manage yield. Maybe that was a bit of a lame joke there, but that is the best I can do to make a show about fixed income and yield a little more interesting. Okay, let's move on and talk about a few buzzwords in income investing. In the world of bonds, there is an important concept called the par value. The par value, for very simple purposes, can be assumed to be the amount that was loaned upfront, which is identical to the amount that will be paid back after the maturity of that security. In our example, the $100 I gave the tomato farmer is the same $100 I would get back at the end of the maturity of the tomato farm program. That value is called the par value. So you may remember we talked about the whole cycle of you giving someone $100 up front and then waiting and getting paid a couple of bucks. So let's look at the buzzwords and the actual terminology behind this borrowing cycle. Here we go. The $2 that you get every so often is called the coupon. The reason it's called a coupon is a while ago, you used to actually get a little coupon in the mail that you would take to cash. The 5-year period that you're willing to wait before the deal concludes is called the duration. The actual date 5 years from the issuance is called the maturity date. So what may happen is you may indeed enter into a tomato farm program 3 years into the 5-year program, in which case your duration is 2 years and your maturity date would still be the same maturity date as before, and that's the subtle difference between those two concepts. If you bought the bond for $100 and you held the bond until maturity, or 5 years in this concept, and you made $2 every 6 months or $4 a year, that coupon, that interest expressed as a percentage each year is what we refer to as the yield to maturity, or YTM, which in this case would be 4%. Now that we have taken care of all of that, let's say that I had a bond that paid $4 a year and I paid $100 for that bond, and the prevailing interest rates are very low, so I can't really even get that 4% elsewhere. So I feel like I did a wonderful decision, and you would love to get 4% as a coupon. However, the market doesn't pay anywhere near that. So I'm going to sit here and say, hey, I'm not going to part with my $100 bond for $100. You need to give me a little extra for me to part with it. And that is really how bond trading works. You may buy that bond from me for $101, in which case you are paying a premium. The opposite, which is kind of what is happening in today's world, bonds issued in 2020 in the depths of COVID when interest rates were next to nothing. would pay a coupon of 1%, 1.5%. And today, the Fed pays us about 4% for a 1-year bond. So nobody wants the 1.5% bond. And so you can buy those bonds for a discount. Again, another buzzword you should be familiar with. Thank you for listening to YieldNerd, a do-it-yourself show for yield accumulation and management.